again. Okay, come on, it's enough.
Wait, you're not a werewolf, are you? No, ignore me. You would have, turned when I saw those, other two werewolves, I have a one-track mind and am a wishful thinker and am horny. It's not even the full moon, I'll be honest. I'm arbitrarily bringing up heavenly bodies to force a segue. Say, have you ever been to Sunnyvale, California? I think it's near San Francisco. But I've never been to California, so who's to say? Assuming you're here again for another story of the bizarre and esoteric. And worry not, this time I'm going to actually be talking about a ghost. I'm so glad I have someone here to ramble to drunkenly, but now that I'm realizing it, and I do need to ask, are you a ghost? I've never met you before 7 months ago, and you only show up at night when I personally am alone, in the middle of the woods no one has any reason to be in, seemingly from nowhere, and always once a month, and then you leave without a trace. I'm just spitballing here. Yeah, you're right, this theory's goofy. I had a few shots before you arrived. Wait, so you're sure you're not a werewolf? It's been a month since my last, liaison, and I have needs. And I personally haven't turned yet, despite very much so wanting to. Still spitballing? That's alright. Wishful thinking. I do appreciate your being here, so please sit down, make yourself comfy. I'll make you a beverage. If you're corporeal, that is. Just checking. Welcome to the Foxhole and Foxxo Esoterica. I promise I was sober when I wrote this. Welcome back to Foxxo Esoterica, the podcast that, when my friends ask what it's about, I tell them it's about ghost stories, but with more of a drunk history vibe to it. Despite this being only the second episode out of 7 so far to actually be about ghosts. I'm the illustrious Fox Witch, Forsetti Fox, and this month we have Gambit, a furry artist and also a close friend who's cool. This month we're going to be tackling a haunting at a retail store, the Sunnyvale Toys R Us in California, as well as a brief expose on, air quotes, psychic Sylvia Brown. As a reminder though, for a little bit of housekeeping, this 2-month schedule thing is going to start now. The first episode will be on the 10th instead of the 1st. Fun fact, April Fool's happens only once a year. I don't have too much else on the vein of housekeeping though, so let's just dive right in. So hi everybody, welcome back to Foxxo Esoterica. I have a special guest. Did you want to go by Gambit, or did you want to pick a different name today?
Gambit's fine.
Just do whatever. Yay, Gambit! I have Gambit. They're fantastic, and I love them, and I don't live near them anymore, but I used to, and
yeah, that's a little sad.
I know I want to make it down to Atlanta, like, at a point. Not to, I can edit out if you don't want people to, know where you live and stuff like that, but...
Well, Furry Week in Atlanta is perfect, because it's local, and I will always be there.
Is it going on this year?
I have no idea. I don't think, well, what is it? It's March now. We usually hold it in May, so probably not.
Probably not. I know, a couple of the cons got pushed to, October and stuff, with BLFC, or... That's the only one that comes to mind.
I think that's the only con I've heard about this year. I think everybody... Because, FWA, last year, they didn't refund people. So I think they're kind of recovering from that, because that was a whole fiasco.
Yeah, that's a hard yarn to untangle, just
right.
in general.
I have no idea if the other cons are in a similar position.
I have not been keeping up with it.
I know, right? Alright, let's jump into it. Oh, I'm sorry, yeah. I didn't mean to interrupt you. What did you say?
Oh, no, you're good. I was just saying, hopefully this is the year that they will happen, but, way late and in fall and when everyone's vaccinated.
Right? Oh, man, fall would be perfect, because it's kind of cool, and then you can go in your fursuit and stay warm.
Yeah. I'm wearing a Kiku right now for the exact... stay warm reasons, because I think it snowed literally a couple days ago here.
Oh my gosh. Wait, you're still in Michigan right now, right?
Yeah, yep. I was in
Holy
Chicago for a
shit.
second, but now I'm in Michigan.
I keep forgetting that it's still snowy up there because down here in Georgia we're like warm. So
Like always.
soon we're gonna get into Satan's asshole weather where it's gonna be so fucking hot.
I don't envy that at all. I think I would rather... I've, like, maybe because I've just, like, been up here long enough to the point where, I'm just used to it, but I think I would prefer to be in, like, brutal winter than really hot and muggy all the time.
Oh yeah, I think that's probably, other than you, the only thing I miss about Michigan.
That's fair. I appreciate that, though. But yeah, let's jump right in. We did the housekeeping type stuff. Actually, before we jump in, for real, so I don't, like, randomly start saying nonsense words and you're like, what's going on? Like, for each episode, I usually start with saying, there's the potion that I brewed today, and I'm, like, having one alcohol tonight because I don't actually want to have, like, a billion. But that's what that is. And then the encyclopedic collection is what I use to indicate what kind of story it's going to be about. Like, this one's going to be a ghost story, so it's going to be, like, I explained it in a different episode, but, like, if people are watching the show in order, they'll be like, I know what he's talking about. So, not to throw you off, but that's usually what I mean when I say those things. Boom. Okay. Jumping in for real right now. Hey everybody, welcome to Foxxo Esoterica once more. I think just because recording is so funny, we did this already, but I'm just going to introduce you again because now I feel official and like I know what I'm doing. So for my special guest this evening, I have Gambit. Hi there.
Hi, Frasetti.
How have you been?
I've been doing
great. These past 5 seconds.
Wait, what?
These past 5 seconds.
Wait. Past 5
seconds. I was just like, how have you been these past 5 seconds? Because I, like, asked you it a minute ago.
I'm really high, so...
You're all good. I would
so
do that,
I'm
but if I, like,
lost.
took an edible right now, it wouldn't kick in. You know, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna take my headphones off.
Oh, hell yeah. Yeah, hell yeah. Second, do it, bro.
It's a weed episode.
Be the opposite of what Dare told us to be.
Ooh. Alrighty, my headphones back in. Yeah, just in case anybody in the audience is curious, we live in places where I can do that legally, so you don't have to tell anybody.
Right. yeah, don't do that.
Don't do that. We're so cool. But, yeah, welcome to Foxxo Esoterica. First things first, I like to, every time I have a new guest on the show, which is every episode, I think I've only had, like, one repeat guest. But I like to ask, like, 4 questions to get a background. But before I ask those 4 questions, I'm going to ask a secret 5th question. Tell us about yourself. What do you want people to know about you?
You're already asking a lot of me. What was the question?
Like, what's your vibe? How are you feeling? What sort of words do you want to choose in which order to introduce yourself?
Wow, this is a lot of pressure.
We're not just asking words. We're going full sentences.
I'm good. The vibes are good.
Yay.
Alrighty,
question. So next, this is the one that's tangible stuff. So the first question that I usually ask every guest is, do you believe in ghosts, aliens, or anything else considered to be unexplained and paranormal, or in that camp of, like, woo-woo, outsidey science world?
Oh, hell yeah.
Stuff?
Oh, hell yeah, I fucking do. But not like... Not like religion. Okay, because that's man-made.
You're totally answering one of the questions I'm about to ask.
Oh my god, okay. Next question.
Well, the second one was, do you have any experiences with these sort of things? And if so, would you care to share a brief story about your paranormal experiences that you've had in the world?
Oh my god, well, I don't think this is brief, but I'm gonna go as fast as I can.
Go for it.
I think my first... Oh, okay, well...
We have all the time.
Strap in, folks. Oh, I have the time today. You need to have the time today. So anyways, I think I was about like 6 or 7 when I had like my first encounter, and it was like through dreams slash physical. Cause like my mom, she was like experimenting with Wicca at the time or whatever. And I just remember she did something bad. Like, I think she burned a black candle without, like, researching what that means or anything. But, you know, it was also back in the 90s, so it's not like we could verify it with internet or anything. But, anyways, she fucked around, she found out, and it just so happened that she did all that in my room.
Oh, no.
So, one night when I was sleeping, in my dream, I was looking out the window, and, like, red eyes were, like, looking at me. And then it was just, the intensity of that just, like, scared me awake. And then I remember I rolled over, and then those same eyes were looking at me. And then it did like this little growl thingy, and I smelled its breath. It was terrible. And I screamed, and my mom came in, and she's like, "What's the matter?" And I was like, I didn't have any words because it's just like this thing was here. And I couldn't explain it to her because, you know, I'm 6. What the fuck am I supposed to say to her? You know what I mean?
That's
so
like...
that was... Oh, go ahead.
I was going to say, like, growling and hot breath type stuff is, like, I think I saw something like that when I was... So sometimes I do dumb things, like walk around in the middle of the woods on a Halloween night. And,
oh my goodness.
like, when I was in early parts of college, and I did that. And I think I, like, had the same thing going on where I saw eyes.
City, you're a baby. That's not that long ago for you. Wait a minute, why are you trying to...
longer ago.
Okay, you're trying to make it sound like you were a weak child. No, City, that was, like, literally 2 years ago.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna let you slide.
I don't want people to know I'm younger than 80. I want people to regard me as a magical, mystical being.
Okay, I'm sorry. I did not mean to perceive you. Go on.
I was just gonna say, I think I, like, had a similar thing to, like, that, but it was just me in the woods walking around instead of, like, if there was a ritual type thing that happened beforehand. So that's always, I like that kind of, it's not like a werewolf, but it's got, like, that kind of, like, hellhound energy to it.
Okay, but you were fucking around and finding out in the woods. You were kind of...
Yeah.
Asking for it. I was just an innocent bystander.
Yes. But it's a key difference.
that did not know any better as to what was going on.
That's
now, the second story is a little longer, so why don't we wait until at the end of the episode? Keep people wondering about that. Yeah.
I do
Hold
that all
on
the
to
time.
that one.
That's like a good, I like that. Cliffhanger time.
Alright, let's get into the story.
Question. Yeah,
oh, wait.
I was gonna do that. There's like 2 more, but we can breeze through them. They're not that complicated.
No,
the third question I was gonna ask was, like, just answering to your degree of comfort with it. Are you, like, religious at all, or do you have a more scientific and agnostic background? And does the existence of the esoteric and paranormal line up with your own religious and or agnostic beliefs?
Wow, I love how our first questions went from baby steps to what is the meaning of the universe type questions.
Oh yeah,
and I love that for us. So anyways, I used to be very, very heavily religious. I grew up in a Christian, more specifically a Southern Baptist black household. So that was my upbringing, but my experiences in life and then, you know, scientific thought and critical reasoning has led me to believe that the God in the Bible is not, if he were to exist, that one isn't it. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I like Jesus's teachings, and I'll follow them. You know, spread love and kindness and whatnot through the world. But that's about it. I don't think there's a God in the way that we perceive it in the Bible. I'm not even sure if Jesus is real, but his teachings are. So, in other words, I'm agnostic. I was kind of babbling there. I'm agnostic.
No, that's exactly the kind of answer that I like with these sort of questions. I like getting like people's background with this sort of thing before jumping into just woohoo, funny ghost story. But like the second part of that question is like, within that agnosticism, is there room for you to like believe in ghosts and stuff like that? Like, does that gel with your mind in the way that the word works scientifically?
Oh hell yeah, because I know that we don't even know what the hell is at the bottom of our oceans or what's out there in space. So,
I want to do an ocean episode.
Who's to say that ghosts or aliens or whatever don't exist? You see what I'm saying? Like,
oh yeah, that's exactly my thought process.
We don't actually know, and I think that there's some things about this world that we don't quite understand. You know what I mean? Because, like, why did our ancestors see all these crazy things and believe in things like magic? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe, I don't know, they were closer to it or something.
I like that. Like, a lot. I think that's usually how I approach stuff like that, where, like, obviously I'm gonna read up on science and stuff like that and try to get an understanding of the world through that lens, and then like all of this stuff kind of exists in a world where it's like we haven't studied that enough yet. There isn't a degree to which we know what's going on here that we can write down about it and experiment on it. So like,
exactly,
it's the realm of things we haven't looked into yet. I like that. The very last question I have is, do you have anything you want to plug at all?
Do I have anything that I want to plug at all?
Oh yeah. Like a personal artsy project, a charity, a thing you thought was cool?
Follow my Twitter.
One person did that. Oh yeah!
@_Lylat. That's LYLAT_.
Yay.
Follow me there for some art and fursuits every once in a while, but mostly just me shitposting and retweeting.
That's me. I'm bad at Twitter. I should be good at
I am
it.
too.
I'm trying to. Yeah. Twitter's hard.
Did you see that one tweet that I made that just went viral for no reason?
Wait, which one was that one?
I was just complaining about Joe Biden, and I was just holding him accountable. Or whatever.
I think I missed that one. I've been like weird with Twitter lately, where I just like hop on for a week and then jump off for a week.
Oh no, I do that all the time too, so I understand. But yeah, for some reason, not my art, not anything else, but a tweet about Joe fucking Biden goes viral, and it's just like, alright.
There's an algorithm to it, it's so weird.
You are absolutely right.
Twitter. Segue. Are you ready for a ghost story?
Yes, I'm ready for a spook story.
Woohoo. I usually like starting this with an overview to like mysteriously and ominously get us into the vibe. So let's now do that.
Let's.
Oh my gosh, wait, I never went over the... Okay, so the potion brewed this... I just did not write this in order. The potion brewed this episode is weed, but I also made a gimlet because I'm trying to learn cocktails because I would love to work in a bar. This is
What's a gimlet?
It's a gin-based cocktail with lime juice and simple syrup. It's like it's very syrupy because I think I used syrup instead of actual lime juice. But it's not detracting from it because I do like it because I really like gin as opposed to other liqueurs and stuff.
Oh, that sounds very delicious. I'm not really much of a drinker, but it sounds delicious.
That's cool. I know nothing about cocktails. It's been a weird pandemic project where I'm trying to learn how to make them. It's also been really slow because a lot of liquor at once is expensive to buy. The encyclopedia
cocktails, huh?
I know half of that. No, I know both, but not together. Both cocks and tails. Less about it if you combine the two words. Yeah. Yep.
I'm judging you.
That's okay.
I'm just kidding.
Hard segue into ghost time. Alright.
Did your edible kick in? Because that's what it sounds like.
It would be really quick, but boy howdy, it could have. Okay, I promise I'm getting to the story.
Okay.
There's like a dispensary that sells like edible mints.
What?
And they're like, it's so weird. And I was like, I'll buy it. That sounds kind of kooky. But like, they hit fast. They don't taste like weed at all. It's like straight up, I'm eating a mint. But like, each one is like 2.5 milligrams. So it's like it's like very condensed and you can just pop them in. It's like, oh, this works. Usually I have two. But they're just a game changer. I love edible mints. I'm plugging the Petra company, but every time I go to a dispensary, they have a different company for it, so I don't know how exactly to plug edible mints. So I'm gonna plug one store in particular. It's Herbology in Kalamazoo.
Ooh.
Anyway, ghost time for real.
All right. With more
January
this time.
Oh yeah. January 26th, 2021. The toy retailer Toys R Us closes down its last store in Paramus, New Jersey. The company had filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy 3 years earlier, and though they were trying to rekindle their ashes in the fireplace that were, with 2 new stores, one in Paramus, New Jersey, and one in Houston, COVID-19 snatched that prospect away.
No.
Very sad. Toys R Us is the ghost this episode.
Oh no.
Mostly joking, actually. It was January 29th, 2018, actually, when the toy retailer decided to close down 182 stores across the U.S. On this list would be one store in particular, and that would be... I didn't word this well at all. I think I wrote this when I was high. It's the greatest on this list would be one store in particular, would be the store in Sunnyvale, California, in the Bay Area. I know, you weren't expecting Toys R Us lore to be necessary for this story. But do remember that this is a podcast about ghosts.
Okay.
Among other things, but namely ghosts.
Alright. And Toys R Us.
And Toys R Us. This is the Toys R Us episode.
Okay.
The Toys R Us in Sunnyvale used to be the home of a Johnny Johnson, a farmer who had allegedly died in the 1700s, right on the spot where the store once stood. Having been doomed to spend eternity, or at least up until the recession, this poor soul has made a hobby of throwing books and toys off of the shelves, turning on faucets in the bathroom, and even occasionally setting up a teddy bear in each aisle.
He doesn't want to grow up. He wants to be a Toys R Us kid.
Forever.
He's throwing a tantrum.
It's the best place to die. It's a toy store. You get all the toys now for free. No one stops you.
Oh my god.
You may think of your local Walmart or Kroger would be the last place for someone's last residence. But the story of the Sunnyvale Toys R Us may shortly change your opinion on that matter.
Okay.
Haunted Toys R Us time.
Alright.
Sources.
I'm waiting.
I love plugging the sources. So.
Okay.
Oh yeah, I'll do the boring part and then I'll get to the cool part.
Every part's the cool part.
Oh, every part's cool, but not the sources. Actually, the sources are cool because a lot of people wrote and did
Oh my
research,
god, take the compliment for steady!
I'll take it, thank you! Thank you very much. Look, I don't even... God,
you just went right over it. You whole ass paused and you're like, that's a lot to unpack. Nope. And you just kept going.
I will not take a compliment. I wrote words and I must say my script.
The show must go on, as they say.
I have all these words I wrote and I want everybody to know them. I can't unpack my feelings.
So let's do the boring part, as you said.
The sources are this Bay Area Toys R Us is about to vanish like a ghost by Patrick May on the Mercury News. Sunnyvale's haunted Toys R Us closed, but it has a new life again by Katie Dowd on SFG Gate. I had to go to Reddit, and I'll get to this in a second, but everybody's article on this was like 25% there's a ghost, and then 75% Sylvia Brown was here. That's a psychic, air quotes, and I'll talk about her later.
Okay.
The next, oh my god, there's a lot of sources. Holy shit. The show, That's Incredible, created by Adam Landsberg in 1980, did an episode about it, which is how this got some notoriety.
Oh my god.
The story of the Murphy/Donner Party and the Martin Murphy Jr. biography on SantaClaraResearch.net, which I think is a census sort of thing about famous people that live there. I'll get to that in a sec. And last but not least, Wikipedia, but only for the Sylvia Brown information.
Wait?
And to a there's a lot of, this is the first podcast where there's not a Wikipedia page about the thing, but then I needed to go to Wikipedia anyway.
I'm like, for City, this story is so fucking boring.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Sources are boring. It's my civic duty
you were
to do
doing
that.
the facts. I was like, Versetti, what does this have to do with the Toys R Us ghost?
We got the Donner Party here. Oh, psychic. It'll all come full circle. To a degree, I think I watched a John Oliver episode about Sylvia Brown, and then also watched the Swindled podcast. And then the last bullet point on the very boring category is, I think John Tron did a video on it once, but I didn't use it for research, and I haven't. A YouTuber. That I think a lot of
he got
people
fired
know.
from Game Grumps.
I think so, yeah. He did a video on it, and I feel like I have to address it now, because if I don't address it, then people will feel like I don't know it happened, and I want people to know I know that he did it, so. We did it. Sources are done.
Oh. Okay, yeah, hell yeah, story time.
Story time. It's the chapter 1, The Ghost, History. Alright, so the main question here is, what was the Toys R Us built on? Nobody was ever murdered in that building when the toy store was in Bill's business. I actually wrote Toy Star. I just wanted to point that out, that's so funny. So one would assume someone would have to die on the property beforehand, would be the layman's thought. But the first recorded building on the property was the home built by a frontier couple, Martin and Mary Murphy, somewhere around 1884.
How do
The
they
two,
know this?
I think one of them was, this is like a point that I never actually did enough research on, but I think Mary Murphy was a part of the Donner Party to a degree, which was the party where they had to eat the dead because they got snowed in. Like on the way to California. Because they were doing the Manifest Destiny thing.
Oh.
But
okay.
I think Mary went back and forth because now she's here with her husband to do the Manifest Destiny thing, which I put in parentheses is a bad thing.
A very bad thing.
A very bad thing. They
okay,
definitely
back to the story.
Yes. They had a daughter in 1884, though, and her name was Elizabeth Murphy. She went by Lizzie for short, and according to one article, was the first pioneer child to be born in California.
Oh.
Interestingly. The family lived there and then grew steadily for around 50 years, and while nothing grisly or drastic ever occurred on the property in that time period, side note, Elizabeth almost drowned in a nearby river as a baby, though, but she survived. But, still. A few people...
Did she?
It's just, yeah, she might have survived forever. Or, died and then is a ghost. I guess you don't survive if you're a ghost.
Fair.
You have to die to do that.
You know...
But a few people did die on the property, for real, though. Elizabeth's brother, James Murphy, caught the consumption. And then
the what?
Consumption. I think the fancy old word for tuberculosis.
Oh, that's terrible.
It's the big one. Back then. I think she and her husband may have also died of tuberculosis, but not of old age, because they definitely died young.
Wow.
And then the most interesting death is this, is a direct quote. Then there's the strange case of Fred Hoffman, the brother-in-law to Martin Traffy, Elizabeth and William's son. Hoffman died on the property in 1894 when he was working on a pump in a farm well. Unfortunately for Hoffman, the well was next to a leaking gas tank. After he failed to show up for dinner, he was found dead at the bottom of the well, asphyxiated from the gas fumes. Asphyxiated. As he choked on the gas fumes. When Martin went down to retrieve the body, he unwisely lit a candle to guide his way, and then he was blown out of the well by the explosion. He was badly burnt, but he survived. However, Hoffman did not. So those are the deaths on the property that were recorded.
Jesus.
That one was the weird one.
When it rains, it pours. Holy shit.
Oh yeah. That one, not to get like grisly, but that one got like potential ghost origin stories to it.
Oh, there's definitely a lot to unpack there.
Oh yeah.
Ghost trauma time.
This will be important later, but nobody suffered any accidents, and there was never recorded to be any sort of violent murder or anything that involved axe on the property at all. This will be important later. The nifty website I found didn't fill in the gaps between Murphy Estate and the toy store, but Martin and Mary had 7 children, so it's easy to assume that people in the family would just hold on to the house for a while until it got to retail times and they built Toys R Us. The census is weird about that, apparently. But let's talk about some ghost stuff.
Alright.
But when I mentioned that the story is 75% Sylvia Browne adventures, I wasn't lying. I worded this so poorly. A lot of news outlets and articles usually talk about Sylvia Browne encounter and seance and add in only a few details of what was exactly happening, the haunting, before that. But the ghost does actually do stuff besides just being called out by an air quote psychic. I had to resort to Reddit posts to a degree because a lot of fun tidbits are on Reddit in regards to people being at the toy store and writing stuff about it. So take it with the Reddit grain of salt, but I trust these stories. They're fun.
Yeah.
Here we are doing actual ghost stuff, if you're ready for it.
I'm ready.
Doing a sip. So a lot of the activity... Yeah, do it. I should probably drink also water, because I'm really talking a lot. And I haven't let you talk in a while. Do you have any thoughts so far?
Well... No. I was listening to the story.
Yeah, that's all. This is all backstory stuff.
My thought process is like, whoa, what does all this lead to the end?
All of this has to happen for a haunted Toys R Us to come out of the woodwork. But here's ghost stuff for real. A lot of the activity is poltergeisty, which for the layman, a poltergeist is the type of haunting where the spirit moves stuff around physically and then interacts around people as if it's like, oh, you're here, I'm here, we're both here. Unlike a haunting where it's like a ghost just replaying their own death or something.
I did not know that difference.
Yeah. I don't remember, I think they're called residual ghosts or something like that, but I might be wrong. I am not sure if I wrote that down anywhere. But this is definitely a poltergeist time. Which is actually German language I'm learning. It's 2 words, and it's rumble spirit, which is funny to me. Polter is just to rumble. It's a goofy word.
Don't talk to him.
I can talk to... He's a ghost, I can make fun of him. I could just leave. Like, he can't follow me.
I'm sure he did something to deserve it. That's why he's a ghost.
Probably. He's goofing around at Toys R Us.
Right.
Anyway, here's the things people report. A lot of times it's mostly things like items being flung from the shelves or just like items moving around the shelves by themselves with nobody like touching them. A lot of people, if they're just like in an aisle by themselves, will hear weird whispers or feel cold spots. Although, to be fair, I have never felt warm in a Toys R Us. They crank up the AC all the time.
Right? Like...
There's just never a warm Toys R Us.
Always get hypothermia every time you fucking go there.
Oh yeah, I have to bundle up and it's the middle of summer.
Frostbite. That's why you have to go to the toy section to just fucking pretend you're warm.
People like overheating from like heat stroke, or like furries at a fur con are like overheating from a heat stroke or something, and somebody's like, please take them to the Toys R Us, they need it. Or just like any store that big. No, Toys R Us were always like the cold one to me. Like if I'm in like a Walmart or something, I never notice it. This is a weird tangent.
It is a very weird, specific tangent, but we both shared it, and that was a moment for us, so please be
I'm
kind,
glad.
audience.
We have achieved unity for the audience, and I hope comment if you achieved unity with us, and if you wish to ascend. One story tells of an employee that witnessed a teddy bear being propped up in every single aisle on one slow night, just like a teddy bear in every aisle.
What? That's so oddly specific. What?
Yeah.
Alright.
That was the weird. That one pops up a couple times and not just like on Reddit. So I'm like, okay, that is a weird thing to just happen. That one's
Right.
weird. A lot of people report the faucets in the women's bathroom just turning on randomly, and then stuff like feeling somebody pulling their hair or tickling anybody in the women's bathroom, which is like,
Oh.
that's a creepy one.
Oh, these ghosts sound freaky and really fetishy, like in a bad, non-consenting way.
That's the
They're
that's the one
gross.
that's not the comfy one.
Ooh, no, I don't like that. I don't vibe with that ghost at all.
Yeah. I don't think I do either. But those are the stories that are juggled around from like the news articles that I read from without like much variation. And it's like devil's advocate time. There's no story that like tells anybody's name or anything. It's just like a customer of the store, an employee of the store, except for one article that called somebody O'Brien. And it didn't share if it was a first or a last name, but they're like, and then O'Brien saw something, and I was like, that's a weird name to just drop for no reason.
Right? Who's named O'Brien?
So that's a weird.
I'm
just
sorry,
name to
O'Brien's out
cite.
there. You're invalid.
O'Brien is an okay name if you're gonna put it in an article next to another name, and it can be a first name or a last name. But please don't just choose to name somebody as O'Brien like their share.
Brian O'Brien?
O'Brien. Or he was like, those are the
Scotty O'Brien.
Scotty O'Brien. I can't think of.
Doesn't
another
it have a
famous
nice ring to
O'Brien.
it?
Oh, I like it. Yeah. Danny O'Brien.
Oh, that's a nice
I hope his
one.
name's Danny. I might just be thinking of Irish things.
I think so too. Alright.
So this, like, the two strikes against the validity of this story. In terms of, like, also if I see the same story 3 times without much variation in how it's written, I'll assume that, like, one person talked to one person, then a bunch of people just wrote a bunch of articles on that one apocryphal report and then kind of made it like a canon, kind of like, I don't know if you know what Stoll Cemetery is, but that's a graveyard in Kansas that everyone thinks is really haunted, but it all goes back to one person said one thing and all the articles write about that article. And so it's like,
So
stories
it's
like that are hard to
basically a
believe.
game of telephone,
Yep.
is what I'm hearing.
And it kind of started to be like, oh, the Toys R Us is kind of the telephone one too, because they're going to all talk about the seance. But there's a lot of stories about the seance and then before and after that too. So that's what made me interested in this story once more.
Okay.
That being said, I imagine people telling reporters at a Toys R Us, like, about what's happening at the haunted Toys R Us would be very afraid of public ridicule, because anybody could just show up and be like, yo, it's the ghost person, and the employee at Toys R Us is like, I wish this weren't a fact about me. I wish I were anonymous. And so if anyone's gonna, like, not share their
Right?
name for a story, this one's it.
Fair. I mean, he's valid.
Anyway. Oh, yeah. I believe that you don't have to tell your name if you're working at a Toys R Us and dealing with a ghost part-time.
Unless
People don't
you're
get enough
O'Brien.
O'Brien just maybe that's not even his name. He just is like, ah, fuck it. I choose violence today. Yeah, my name's O'Brien. Like Beyonce. Like, no first or last name. I could be who I want. I could be a Toys R Us kid. One of the best stories is in 2008. I went there to buy I guess I did it without quotes, but this is what the person wrote. I went there to buy a birthday gift, and it was around 8:45 p.m., and very few shoppers were there at all. I was looking at the Sesame Street toys, where you press the hands of the Say Elmo, and the toys start singing and dancing. While looking, a few of the toys in the section start going off by themselves, and immediately to the left or right of me, an item drops from the shelves onto the floor. As you walk into the store at the time, all the toys were to the far left of the store, and nobody else was in the aisle or that side of the store at all. Later, those Sesame Street toys moved to the far right of the area of the Babies R Us section, like when the person went back to see them. So they all turned on, a couple of them fell from the shelves, he went away, came back, and they were all on the opposite side of the shelf.
That's oddly specific, just the Sesame Street toys?
Yeah. But, like, I think specifically the Tickle Me Elmo one, too. The one, because I can picture it now. I think I've seen it before.
Okay, but he's creepy, so, I don't know. I don't think that's Ghost. I think it's Elmo himself.
He's manifesting. Elmo's the haunter.
Oh my god, no.
Another interesting tidbit I saw on Reddit was Redditor Freddy Krueger writes, I worked there for a few months when I was younger. I never really saw anything weird happen, but the managers that hired me mentioned one thing that occurred a few days before my orientation. Apparently, the alarm went off in the middle of the night, and the reviewing of the security footage found that it had been triggered by one of the emergency doors flinging open on its own, and then I think it, like, went back and forth, just, like, slamming and opening. Nothing too crazy, but that's all that happened while this person was there.
That's really creepy.
Oh, yeah. Like, I can just picture it, too. Like, working retail, just, like, it's dark out. Like, I've worked at a Cirilla's, which is a sex store, so it was open late. But just, being in a retail store by yourself when it's dark out, it's like, oh, I'm the only person in this store. Everything, like, probably not Toys R Us, but it's big enough to, like...
The vibes are, like, so bad.
Oh, yeah. Just, like, actually having a ghost there, I would not... Like, usually I feel like I'd be comfortable around ghosts, but in this situation, I'd be like, nah, I gotta leave.
Right, exactly. Like... I'm just thinking of the time I used to work at, like, Goodwill, and I would have to, like, leave at, like, nighttime and catch the last bus home. Like, can you imagine the vibe of that? Oh, gosh. And then to have a ghost in that situation? No. I don't think I would have survived.
My phrase can be a little bit less frayed than if they were in that situation. I would not vibe at all.
Right?
I like this. Like, there's not a lot of stories out there that are like the haunted, very normal place. Like, usually if you hear, it's like, there's this really fancy boat in the ocean. There's a really old hotel and stuff. And it's just like the fact that a normal-ass Toys R Us can get haunted is so, like... Of course it'll happen eventually. Like, all of the modern buildings now are eventually going to be old buildings.
Giving Stormy kisses on his head.
Oh, you have a cat on the pod.
Stormy, hello, Stormy. Say hi. Stormy, you remember Fassetti?
Hello,
huh?
I miss you, Stormy.
I think that's why he's all hyperactive. I think he hears your voice.
Oh, hi, Stormy.
He's making noises, but I don't think my mic's picking it up. Come here. Come talk.
If they do, then I'm gonna blast that so everyone can hear the cat.
Oh, come here, Stormy. No? Okay, he doesn't want to talk anymore. I'm sorry.
Stormy's adorable. This has been a cat intermission, and it's been very lovely. Anyway, are you ready for a hard shift in the story?
Oh, yes.
Are you ready to hear about Sylvia Brown?
What? Okay, yeah.
Boom. Sylvia, this will all come full circle. You just gotta trust me. This is a narrative gymnastic.
I have to trust the process.
Narrative tightrope. Sylvia Celeste Brown was born on October 19th, 1936, to William Lee and Celeste Shoemaker. I could do a whole episode on her if I wanted to, because the history of fraudulent scam artist psychics is very rich and bountiful in narrative, but we're going to be talking about Toys R Us today, so I won't dwell on her. Oh yeah, she's so wild.
I can't believe my mom used to read her, but you know, again, it was the 90s, so I couldn't really fact-check anything.
Yeah. I think, like, not only did the internet come out to, like, disprove stuff, but, like, she doubled down on crazy predictions in the 2000s, too. So, like, in the 90s, I think she was a little bit more or less, like, there in terms of, oh, I can believe her, but I also never really was alive in a majority of the 90s, so who's to say?
You know, that just gave me an interesting thought. Maybe, like, back then, people believed in, like, dragons and other bullshit or whatever because they weren't there. You weren't there. You can't disprove that this person's lying or not.
Oh, yeah.
Or that they saw something new that you didn't see.
Well, that's like how it is with the platypus, because, like, when they discovered the platypus, like, everybody in England, when the one guy was like, look what I found, they were like, you just made that up. That's not a real thing, bro.
Cap. That's cap, bro.
That's cap.
He's like, no, on God, I'm serious.
He's real. He's gonna be really famous in a TV show later on Disney Channel. It's gonna have two brothers, their sister, a scientist, and a
off of his head.
Everybody's shape is everybody's head is like a triangle.
Right.
It's hard to imagine what anybody's brain looks like in this show. Phineas and Ferb tangent aside, are you ready?
I think that's why I don't like that show, because they're all triangles.
They just arch or squares. There's a lot of squares.
Yeah, they're just very
namely
edgy. And there's not very many round characters. I think that's why people love Perry the Platypus. Because he's like the only round character in that show. Well, yeah, true, but his edges are round.
Yeah, that's a good point. He's soft.
Yeah,
he's soft and approachable.
Yeah. But everybody else...
I think I interrupted you also when you were actually having a very insightful thought, and then I just jumped in with esoteric platypus knowledge.
Oh, yeah, so people used to believe far out shit because they weren't there to prove it. But now, with the advent of technology, we can prove that, okay, yeah, I'm not there to prove you wrong, but here's all this information that proves you wrong.
And just like anybody can poke at the internet in, like, at most points, so, like...
Right. And it's so readily available. And yet some people are just still woefully ignorant. They just do it willfully. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But that's another tangent for another time.
We'll get to it later if we can help it. Because it sounds like a good tangent.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
but
let's
today
get to this story.
Sylvia Brown time. Her brand of psychicness involved chatting with spirits of the deceased in order to glean information. And then she kind of clung to Catholicism somehow. But then she didn't really... She really, like, she was a psychic who talked to the dead and stuff, but she was very... Somehow was like... And it's all very Catholic, and none of the things I'm doing are sinful, I promise. Not that I know a lot about Catholicism, but I feel like it's a hard act to juggle.
Right, but, I mean, she did it. She was so successful. All I remember about this bitch...
Well, I mean, like, morally, I feel like she's a tarot reader, but she's like, oh, I'm also very Catholic, and I feel like she juggled that somehow.
Yeah.
You were saying, though.
Yeah, all I was saying is that all I remember about her is she wrote a lot of books back then, and my mom and my aunt would fucking read those. So that's all I know and remember of her. And that
Did you ever read one?
No, because I was a child, so I had no interest in doing that. All I cared about was Pokemon back then.
Same. Or, like, books with a picture of any animal in it. But, like, I don't feel like Sylvia put animal pictures in her books, so.
No, it was all a bunch of big words. So, you're not missing anything, trust me.
I wouldn't read her book, probably haven't yet, and probably won't. If I do an episode on her, because I read books for this podcast sometimes, and it's an arduous effort.
Oof. You gotta invite me
Stuff
back
at
for
the
that
beginning.
one. I want to hear about that one.
I'll let you know. This will be a good. She'd have a good
Yeah.
episode.
I think that would be a very good episode.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I'm jumping into the script once more because I think I found my spot. She
Okay.
did not get her start, though she did kind of get her start in the 70s as a tarot reader, which doesn't seem very Catholic. Apparently, her grandmother told her that the whole family was psychic genetically, which also doesn't seem very Catholic to me. And then
It
she
also
started
doesn't
developing
seem very sane either, but go on.
that also. Those are two strikes against her. She's not very Catholic and she's not very sane. At the age of 5, apparently she predicted her grandmother would die. She told people in post afterwards.
Right,
She'd also be
like-
yeah, she's like, oh, when I was 5, I predicted my grandma's death, and I was like, I can't prove that you did that. It happened in the past.
Like, how can you disprove that? See, you weren't there.
Yeah.
You don't know, and you don't know what's in this lying ass child's mind. They were lying, but
Oh yeah. Apparently she did tarot cards around her friends and stuff, and someone was like, hey, you could make money off of this, and she was like, oh.
she
And
said
then years had
bet.
passed. She's like, oh, you'll see. I might not make a money. I might make a dynasty, if you don't mind. What was it? She found herself working both prolifically as a call-in psychic for her own show, and then she appeared on the Montel Williams show, like, a bunch. And
Oh
then
my god!
also,
Yes.
yeah, I think I've like watched a couple of those videos, which I probably should have put in the references and resources and stuff. But I
Yeah.
forgot to do that.
Put some of those. The vibes are like so weird.
Oh yeah. She also worked as a psychic detective for police, and then I'll get to this later because it has a 0% success track record. She also started the Gnostic Church. When I heard it in the podcast, I thought the dude said agnostic, and I was like, that's weird. But
Right?
I looked
Like
it up,
agnostic
and it
church?
says Gnostic. Yeah.
Oh.
I got thrown off by that.
So,
Uh,
is it gnostic or gnostic?
Gnostic. Maybe Gnostic. I don't think I've
Gnostic?
ever seen this word said out loud.
I feel like it
people
would be
figure it out.
gnostic, because G
That
and
makes
N
sense.
makes an N noise usually, like null and no.
Oh, those are both important words. Mostly
Gnostic.
no. She started the Society of the Novus Spiritus, and then also started the Sylvia Brown Corporation and Society in 2010, where she charged people like hundreds of dollars for a half-hour call-in psychic reading. I think
Wait, in
one person-
2010?
Yeah, like
Is
people would
she
still call
still
it, but-
alive?
No. Oh, she died, but I think she died like maybe 5 years ago. I wrote it down somewhere.
Holy
get to that.
shit. Wow, I haven't thought about her once this entire time. Until
She's
now.
back. She's in your life once more because of me, and I don't know
Right.
how either of us should feel about that.
And then you just hit me with the fact that she's dead, and it's just like, whoa. Man, that person used to be alive.
Oh, that is a no longer alive person.
Weird. Anyway.
I'm gonna edit this in a way where now I'm saying content warning. Probably gonna talk about a kidnapping case in a second, and then I'm gonna edit this audio so that way I said it before the thing I said, because I'm smart.
Trigger warning.
But trigger warning, that's the word. I think with one of the, we'll get to like the kidnapping cases, which actually, she was called in for cases like that, and it did not end well. Weirdly,
'Cause
also
she's-
one of the, what's up?
I was just gonna say, because she was giving people false hope that, oh, your son's still out there and alive, and then,
It's even worse than that.
yeah.
Apparently, when like one of somebody got the figure of like $700 because they were actually trying to call her for information, because she called. She was like, I think I have some information about your son and he's alive and stuff, and then got a voicemail later. It's like, I can give you more information if you pay me $700, and I'm like, that's so dicey. That's so not cool.
Right?
So it's like a weird hook and bait situation where it's like she hooks you with a little bit of information, and then it's like, and then you have to pay more. Woo!
Right, and it's like, you want to know, so you're just going to pay more. It's kind of like gambling. You want to fuck around and find out.
Yeah.
And you're just addicted to just be like,
everything.
yeah.
What was I gonna say? I previously mentioned that she was a regular on the Montel Williams show, and then she was also on Coast to Coast AM a bunch, which directly, and then the last thing that she was on, which directly relates to the Sunnyvale Toys R Us case, is that she was on a show called That's Incredible, wherein they went to said Toys R Us with her and then did a seance and then recorded it.
I really want some ice cream. Do you mind if I get some?
Oh my gosh, go for it. You don't have to stop recording. I can totally edit the pause and stuff. But get ice cream because that sounds good and you deserve it.
I will. Thank you. I'll be right back.
You're welcome. I should eat. I had a salad for dinner. The audience, but I actually had 2 salads. So it's like the amount of food that one normal meal is. So I'm not starving, and that's what's important. But that being said, I ate a salad, and I could just eat any number of things right now, and it would bring me joy. Now I'm gonna actually pause.
Alright, Rossetti. Sorry for the wait. Thank you for your patience. Had to get my boys their treats, too.
You're all good? How are the boys doing? What
They're
kind of
doing
treats did you
great.
get them?
I gave them Temptations, chicken flavor.
Yay.
Crunchy on the outside, soft on the inside treats. And they love it.
I was just about to say, those are always so good. Like, I've eaten one before, because I haven't. But I assume.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I've never eaten cat food.
Well,
anyway.
these are treats, not food.
Is treat not a food? I don't know where I'm going with this, so I'm gonna pretend I didn't say it.
Okay.
But yeah, welcome back. I hope the ice cream is good.
Oh, it's great. Thank you.
What kind of ice cream is it?
It is. Let me turn it around and I'll tell you. Peanut butter fudge. And it's by Rebel. It's if you're on a low carb, high fat diet like keto or something like that. It's great for that. Have another
That sounds
plug.
pretty good. Yeah, I'm here to plug it. I would just try that in general, diets aside, because that sounds like a good flavor combination.
I add some peanut butter to it. And a secret ingredient.
I love secrets.
Take a guess.
Is it sprinkles?
No, I hate sprinkles.
Is it weed?
No.
Is it like any nut? Like an almond?
No.
Like a cashew?
Mm-mm.
I think those are all the
Melted
guesses.
butter.
Oh shit! Oh, that'd be pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Like, butter is underrated in cooking because it just makes things salty but also creamier, and it's just you can put it in anything. It's good.
I'm telling you, folks. Melted butter on your ice cream. Try it and thank me later. That's a high idea.
I almost just said this is a butter plug, but I realized something.
Mm-hmm.
That if you take out the you have a new word. Anyway, we were just talking about Sylvia Brown, and she did not do a great job in cases. I should probably reinstate the trigger warning actually, because I don't think we actually got to talking about it. So
right,
I'm gonna be really good at editing this when I'm not high. So I say that because the future me who is going to edit this is going to be like, boom, I know what to add. I know how to make this sensitive subject handled with care. Starting now. If you're ready for it.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. Here's, according to the Swindled podcast, her track record with detective cases in a 3-year period, matching with the reports of her predictions, her success rate was literally 0%. And not only that, she seriously fucked up hard in a few cases and irreparably harmed families of the victims. The two major cases where she fucked up the most were both kidnapping cases. So I'm not going to go into like crazy actual detail because it's kind of heavy stuff. But the gist of both cases involves two different desperate families just missing their children for around like, one I think was a whole year and the other was pretty immediately when they called Sylvia, but like still like there were no leads at all, and so they're like, this is the only avenue to go to.
And then she took their money.
Yeah, she had them pay like $700, and then also predicted her cases on the Montel Williams show live, I'm pretty sure. And in both cases, she claimed that the children were deceased, and it like prompted the family to stop doing the search and stuff.
And then they found them, I believe.
Yep. One of them was like 7 years later, and it was after her mom passed away, like after 2 years of not seeing her daughter for like the whole of it. Oh no. So that's like the really, I mean, both of them are heartbreaking because it just like it's crazy stuff, but that one is one of the like huge misses. She also got the descriptions on both kidnapping perpetrators like entirely wrong. Like with one case, she involved her predicting that like a Latino man in dreadlocks committed the crime, and then like the police actually took this advice and used it for the investigation, although I don't think they like actually convicted anybody. They just like were using that information in the search.
So she was racist. Got it.
Oh yeah. Definitely. Especially since like in the end with that case, the dude that did the kidnapping was like a white guy in his 50s.
Of course it was. Was the kid alive for that one?
Yes. Yep.
So they both came back alive, or that's that one?
Both of them in these examples. There are cases, I think, where she predicted that they would come back alive and they didn't, but I heard about those and then didn't write it down, so I don't know the details. She did like a bunch of these, and did them very poorly and hurt people in the process.
She's a wonderful person.
Oh yeah.
I'm glad she's dead.
Last two things, speaking of which, she also predicted on Larry King Live that she would die at the age of 88 after years of claiming that she could not predict things about herself at all. And then she died at the age of 77 in 2013.
Wow. That's amazing.
She was wrong.
But it was still a double number. That's kind of funny. She was like 11 off.
Yeah. I don't want to... It's like, it's too... If it were like... Yeah, I guess that's like a good point, but I'm not going to give it to her.
No. Not at all. I'm not giving her anything either. I was just saying...
Oh yeah, not that I'm assuming...
It's ironic.
That is an interesting coincidence. Apparently, according to her ex-husband, who asked how she felt about scamming people the way she does, she is quoted by saying, "Well then screw them, if they believe any of this." So that's who we're dealing with.
Cool.
And then, I wanted to bring up all this background information because she gets involved with Toys R Us ghost, and then the legitimacy of the haunting plummets immediately. That being said, I do believe that there's an actual ghost story underneath all of this, but the major part of the story is the seance she performed.
Sylvia Brown ruined it.
Oh yeah.
Like she always does. Got it.
She made the Toys R Us ghost a joke, which is kind of hard not to do. It is a Toys R Us ghost, but still. Any thoughts so far before I go to the next section?
I don't like Sylvia Brown. Me and my homies hate Sylvia Brown.
Strong agree. Friendship with Sylvia Brown ended. My new best friend is anybody else. Just a single person you can name.
Literally anybody else.
That, like, you can't go wrong picking a single person that you can think of. It's seance time, though. September 1981 is when the 44th episode of That's Incredible aired. A TV show about, oh my god, I don't actually think I've seen an episode besides this one, so I think I like assumed it was about ghosts, but it really could just be about anything.
Right.
So I'll do more research later, and then not put it in the podcast, obviously, because I'm recording now. But everybody at home, do your own research. I didn't. Everybody still listening to this podcast. I promise it's good. Apparently, I think the episode was actually recorded 3 years earlier, prior to, like, when it was published, which is, like, a weird gap, but I guess that's how it works for TV. On August 5th. The show invited Sylvia Browne and, like, 15 additional people to the store after closing in order to conduct a seance for the show, after hearing about locals' ghost stories and etc. Evidently, multiple photographs were taken. Actually, wait, let me, I can send those to you. I can't put them in the podcast, but I guess, like, pause here, and then,
Right.
Toys R Us, or I guess, like, ghost picture. That's how we're typing shit in the Google now. Yeehaw.
Ha yee.
Okay, so there's this picture, and there's, like, a dude standing in it, and apparently when the... Okay, that's not what I want to say. Copy the image address, and then do a little pasty, and then, okay, so I see, I'm just gonna do it.
While you do that, I'm gonna go put my ice cream away.
Do it. This is a process that takes most people 5 seconds, and it's taking me 5 minutes, so nothing but respect. Oh, you know what? I'm high.
Okay, I'm back.
Hi, welcome back.
Thank you.
I hope the ice cream journey was eventful, or I guess not eventful. I hope it was the least eventful thing ever.
Yeah, pretty much. Oh my god. Oh, that's scary
But yeah,
looking.
that's the weird thing about this picture, which actually is kind of like vaguely valid as opposed to everything else involved in the seance. But when the picture was taken, nobody reported anybody was standing. Like, all 15 people were looking at each other sitting in this random ass Toys R Us aisle, and so the picture just took that, which is like an interesting thing. There's a dude standing in it for people who can't see.
Yeah. Why does he look like he's wearing bell-bottom jeans?
I don't know, and it's kind of funny.
Right? Oh, wait, actually. Oh. He looks like he has like a little hat on, and maybe that's a suit. Ooh, he's creepy looking.
Yeah. He might be a farmhand, but I'll get to why it probably not that. But now we have the picture of a dude standing. Everybody look it up. You can just look up Sunnyvale Toys R Us ghost picture. Those are the exact words my high mind typed in, and I found what I was looking for. To the store after closing... Oh, I just jumped in the middle of the sentence. Okay. So evidently, multiple photographs were taken during the seance, featuring a figure standing in the light in a room where everyone was otherwise sitting, as they, like, claim in post. So that's tangible trace evidence, weirdly enough, despite the seance kind of being complete bunk.
Right.
The camera specs were actually explained in the show. That's incredible. And I don't know what any of this means, but it was shot on 35mm black and white infrared film. So that sounds like legit. That sounds like you can't doctor it in post. I don't know what I'm talking about, though. Never touched a camera. Anyway, all that aside, nobody really saw anything or felt anything besides chills and then, like, a weird feeling that somebody's watching, and then I guess, like, a high buzzing sound. It was just Sylvia Browne talking the whole time, TBH.
Oh my god.
Very weird seance, because, like, nobody kind of reported, like, people are just, like, in the, oh, it's kind of a weird vibe, it's a cold AC Toys R Us. But then the camera guy got the picture, which is so weird.
Maybe it was he's the only person who would be standing.
Yeah, I guess
Maybe
it could
he
be.
caught his reflection somehow.
That
Actually, that looks kind of like a dude with a camera, now that you look at it.
Oh,
If
I
you
know
look
what
at the
you're
photo. That's why he looks like he's wearing
kinda-
bell-bottom jeans. Look at his
Oh,
foot.
yeah.
It's moving forward, and that one's kind of back, and he's hunched over with a little camera in his hands. Look, it looks like a little box in his hand.
There's, like, a weird mirror somewhere. Did I just close Discord?
Huh? Did you?
Okay, no, I thought I closed Discord. We're good.
Oh.
Freaked out for a sec. Yeah, I can see that now. I don't think I know how cameras work, but I think a reflection is entirely possible.
Something was wrong with the camera, I think. Because it used to
That
have
checks out.
mirrors and bits of glass in them back in the day, and I bet you maybe, like, his lens was cracked and it, like, reflected him somehow.
That checks out. That makes a lot more sense than what I could come up with, which was, like, somebody snuck a mirror in the store and nobody saw it. But anyway, Sylvia Brown is talking this whole time, and what she's saying, she got the backstory. She knows who died. She knows what's up. According to her, the ghost was a man named Johnny Johnson, or also known as Yanni, which makes more sense because if you don't say Yanni, it's the same name 3 times, like Ed, Ed and Eddie.
Right? Like, that's literally the same person, bitch. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah, he just said his name 3 times. You couldn't hear him, dude. Apparently he was a Swedish immigrant who worked on the Murphy farm. Throwback to those guys. And then he apparently fell in love with Lizzie, that's the Murphy's daughter. Although Sylvia claims that her nickname was Beth, as to indicate that this will soon go off the rails.
What?
She got the nickname wrong. That's just like one little detail that like 2 articles brought up were like, her nickname wasn't even Beth, it was Lizzie. You fraud. Crack me up. However, Lizzie ended up, air quotes, running away with a lawyer from the East Coast, a thing that didn't actually happen, according to the actual official census, because she married William Taffy, the gas leak guy. Full circle.
Oh my god.
Nevertheless, Brown claims that Jan John got so stressed that when he was cutting wood with an axe, he missed the wood and then instead cut off his own leg and then died. And now he's haunting the story because he never got to proclaim his love to the person who was actually real as opposed to him.
That was oddly specific.
Oh yeah. Very specific. Just a weird, specific backstory. After Sylvia Brown told us all of this, she then exorcised the guy, guiding him towards the light just by talking. And then I think he didn't, because ghost stuff kept happening after that, like the store was still haunted.
He said, wait, JK?
It's like, oh, I like this. I want to be a Toys R Us kid.
He wanted to be a Toys R Us kid. He didn't want to grow up. That's why he's throwing a tantrum and throwing toys around.
And yeah. Sylvia's like, bro, grow up. And he's like, okay.
No.
No.
I don't want to grow up. I'm a Toys R Us kid. And I don't know the rest of the words of that song.
It's reverse Peter Pan.
Oh, wait, what? Reverse Peter Pan?
Because it's a person who grows up forever, and then there's a person coming in being like, you should grow up. I don't think I thought that through. It might not be good. This is a miss. What was I gonna... I don't remember where it stopped reading last. Okay. So this is the main relation to this story, but as far as I can tell, the only actual takeaway was that some people felt weird at the seance and then cold, and then there's a photo of a dude standing, which could just be anything. But it was taken by a local photographer, Bill Tildwell, and not just some buddy that Brown brought in and like was like, take a picture of the person who works for me. Like, this is just a dude they found. So that's why I feel like we can trust him. But I couldn't find anything else about him besides a minor name drop. Like, I don't think he has a company or anything. But that's the seance story. Sylvia Brown walked in and just ruined the validity of the Toys R Us ghost for everybody.
So all I'm hearing is that she's a taker. She's not like the giving tree. She just takes and takes people's money, takes people's joy in a harmless little urban legend. She's just a taker, and then she took that to her grave. Fuck her.
Yeah.
Dusty ass bitch.
If her love language had one and she had a love language, it would be gift taking, and it wouldn't be a love language. It would be a hate language.
It would be manipulation, because that's exactly what she did.
Oh yeah. Maybe the ghost is Toys R Us itself at this point. The company is becoming more and more deceased as time goes by. I can't believe
no.
Like this. It's starting to closely resemble that of Prince Philip, to quote a meme that's going around right now.
Oh my god, gross. No. He looks so decrepit and disgusting.
So
please put him out of his misery. I'm not saying to kill him or anything, but like put
Just
him
let
out
him
of his
rest in his
misery.
room. He doesn't have to go into public again.
Right? Just let him stay there.
He's okay at home.
Right?
That being said, a ghost isn't the only thing occupying the building where a Toys R Us once stood.
Vouch.
As a
Wow,
fun-
wow.
Oh, you're gonna love this part. As a fun way to wrap up the series, I did want to point out that the space is not like owned for all year round, but a business does like to swoop in on the space for a season out of the year, and that store is Spirit Halloween,
I was
which
about
now
to say.
occupies these haunted halls. Funniest thing ever. I think it's like.
Oh
been
my
doing it for
gosh,
literally
it's
this
come
year.
full circle.
So I don't know if anything actually haunted has happened, but this has been open for like literally a year, so.
Like, that would be
Maybe it
like
will
the
in
most
time.
welcoming place to haunt. Like,
Or maybe not. 'cause,
Don't you
like,
think?
You could probably haunt somebody and somebody would be like, oh, I want to buy that. And you're like, oh, now I can't impress anybody anymore.
oh, you know what? Maybe you're right. Oh, damn. You're right.
I guess we'll find out. If anybody goes to that Spirit Halloween in Sunnyvale, California, and it's really haunted, and you want to comment on a thing,
Yeah,
then I
please
would
let
love
us
to hear that
know.
story. I want a haunted Halloween store more than anything.
Right? Like, same.
Oh.
Now, see,
yeah.
now that's something I need in my life.
I want to go. I just want to go to like one haunted retail store. I think I saw a list where it's like there's like a Walmart in Alabama that's haunted or something pretty severely. Could do an episode on it, but I think I need to switch it up and do a different ghost or something.
Speaking of haunted, well, slightly related, did I tell you the story of when I worked at a haunted house and I got high off my rocker?
Not yet, but I want to hear it a lot right now.
Okay. I felt like it was relevant because we're talking about ghosts and haunting and we're both very high, so anyways, I used to work at a haunted house when I first moved to Michigan because, you know, I just moved there. I didn't have any money. I was a wee lass of 19 years old. And so at that age, you just take whatever you can get. So I was in what is called a slapdown. A slapdown is this little box that you sit in and you hide in the wall, and then you like jump out and you fucking scare them. Slapdown. You slap the wall down and you scare them. So that was my job. And in order for people to like get loose and like comfortable in their role, this haunted house allowed people to consume the devil's lettuce or, you know, drink a little alcohol to like, you know, give everybody liquid courage. And so I bought edibles from a coworker, and there was like 2 little cookies that were all mashed up, so I didn't know how much I was eating, but I ate them both like an idiot. Because up until that point, everybody's made or given me weak stuff. So I could eat a whole brownie. I have no idea. I'll never know to this day. Because I was a good probably an hour or 2 into my shift before that edible kicked in. And you know, edibles, they always kick in when you're talking shit about them. Man, this edible ain't shit. I don't feel it. I felt it.
I just took an edible. I can't say those words out loud.
Huh?
I just took an edible. I can't say those words out loud.
Don't say that out loud. But anyways.
Bloody Mary.
So you can imagine how this all went down. Me about to lose my mind in a haunted house. So this group comes by, right? I do my jump scare. I pop out. Rah! Scare, scream them. They scream. And my high ass, I scream because they're screaming, and then they scream some more and start running away, and I'm like, oh my god, what's after them? I gotta go. So I'm sitting here running with them, my high ass, trying to run from whatever they're running from, and they're sitting here running from me, and they're screaming, and I'm screaming, we're all screaming, and my coworkers are just sitting there like, man, Gambit's really on fire tonight. Gambit's doing really amazing. And so, like, the people, they ran away, and then I lost them. And so I got I never explored the haunted house with
Oh no.
before. So
So that was like your first time seeing it.
because I just only came there to do my job and go home. I was there to make money, not friends. So then I got lost in the haunted house.
Oh no.
And all my coworkers all like doing their scares and jumping out at me and like grabbing me and shit, and I'm sitting here like ah, and then I caught up with the people and they're like, oh my god, it's still chasing us, and it was terrible, and I got lost, and I was like, then finally somebody noticed something wasn't quite right because I never came back. So the cage girls, I was in the slap down, and then the cage girls were right after me. So one of them left her cage, and she came to find me, and I'm just sitting here, like, lost and scared. And
Oh no.
they got me a pretzel and some water. Like, shush, it's gonna be okay, honey. And then I felt better after that.
Oh my
So,
god.
yeah.
That's so wild.
It was really wild.
If
Like, for
I could
SETI,
not go to a haunted house high, let alone like
ego deathing,
the
yeah.
way that it happens like that.
Like, for SETI,
Ugh.
the trees were talking to me. I was sitting outside in the back looking at these trees, and they were just like there's this really huge tree that scared me because he was just like, I don't know, he looked like he was leaning over and he like wanted to grab me and shit, and I was like, oh my god, I'm way too high, please stop.
I've been there before. There's some weird trees outside this house.
Right? Like, some trees just have a certain vibe.
I think when I was really young, we had like ceramic Halloween decoration things, like a haunted house ceramic. I don't even know how to describe them. But
Right?
there was one that was just a normal, not like a normal tree, but like one of those really creepy trees, and then it had a face on it, and that
Ew.
stuck with me every time I take edible and look at a weird tree. Think of it. And like, there's a face that's gonna grow out of there. Shit.
We both took edibles, and it's like, wow, I hope this doesn't awaken anything within me.
I hope I'm not actually possessed by a demon, because like, boy howdy, this is really easy to just take over.
Right?
Ruin. Anyway, thank you for that story. That was a good story.
Oh yeah, you're very welcome. Oh wait,
Yeah.
go ahead. That reminds me
I
of
was
the
gonna
other
say-
story that I said I would tell.
Oh, I was
At the
literally just about to
end-
ask what that was about, because I'm here for it.
Yes,
I'm ready
yes.
For it if you are.
Okay.
I wrapped up all of
Alright,
my information.
see, audience? We wouldn't leave you hanging now, would we?
A robber
Anyways.
rose. Full circle.
So, I was 6 or 7 at the time. Mom did fucky shit in my room with, like, burning candles and Wicca shit she didn't know about. So this one was very different from the other one. I just remember that it also occurred in between the state of, like, when, like, just before you fall asleep, or when you're just waking up. It occurred during that area again, where I was kind of half awake, and then I just remember the urgency of, I need to wake up right now. I need to wake up before it gets me. And then something grabbed me. It was very violent. It grabbed me. I don't know how to describe this, but it felt like it grabbed me by, like, my spinal cord or, like, my back or something, and it was ripping me out of my body, like, ripping, and it was a weird sensation to feel myself being ripped from my spinal cord through this weird sensation, and whatever it was, with its claws or whatever, I could hear it flapping its wings. It was flying, whatever it was.
Oh, wow.
And I remember the feeling of coming out of my body, and, like, I was, like, at the top of my room, and I was, like, at the ceiling, and it was still, like, trying so hard to take me up wherever it was taking me, and I was trying so hard to get back down, and then it let go of me, and I like slammed really hard, and I like bounced in my bed, and I remember being fully awake for that moment where I hit the bed, and then I bounced up, and then I hit the floor. That's how hard I hit, and I like, as soon as I hit the floor, I was up, and I ran to like the light in my room and turned it on, and I was like crying.
Oh my god, that's so specific. Like there's a lot of weird details that I don't ever hear in like any other story. Like that's uniquely horrifying situation.
And you want to know what's worse?
Oh my god.
Is I used to have like nightmares as a kid about like demons and stuff like that. And like I can go into detail another time because I've had them with me for so long that I categorized them. But that was my first one, the one I just told you about. And he is the one that stuck with me through dreams or whatever, like my whole life, like up until recently. Like that started when I was 6, and I had like reoccurring nightmares about this thing until I was like maybe 26 or 27.
Oh my god.
But now he's stopped ever since I left my ex, ironically.
Huh.
And yeah, I haven't seen him in a dream for a very long time.
I haven't that worked out the way that is, but that is weird. That is just a weirdly creepy thing.
Right? Isn't it creepy? And
I do not envy you.
And it ties back to your question earlier, like, do you believe in ghosts or whatever? Yeah, I absolutely do, because that happened to me. And out of all my years of living, I've never experienced something like that ever again. You would think, by probability, I would. But I haven't.
It was like following you.
Right, and it was following me. So it was just... It was really weird. And... yeah, that's why I believe that there are some things of this world that we don't understand. Because that room, remember how I told you that was my room my mom did that in?
Mm-hmm.
Anybody who's ever came to our house has seen something in that room.
Damn.
Like, my aunt, ever since, like, she came to visit, ever since she slept in that room, she has never been able to sleep without a light on. Ever since that moment. Still to this day, she can tell you, and she vividly remembers seeing some shadowy figure in the closet of that room. And it scared her so bad that she cannot sleep without a light till this day. And she's like 50-something, pushing 60s now.
Wow.
My dad, he slept in that room at one point. And he never said he saw anything. He just says he just doesn't like sleeping in there. But he's a person who never talks about his feelings or anything. So I'm pretty sure he saw something. My grandmother slept in that room when she came to visit. And all she kept talking about was, oh, I'm glad this house is new. I'm glad this was back in the 90s, and the house was built in the 80s, so it was new. She kept saying, oh, I'm glad this house is new, and it wasn't built on anything weird, like, and we were like, what do you mean? She's like, oh, like burial grounds or something. So I think she was in her little denial phase.
Well, yeah, but
because
it wasn't something that the house was built on, because that was something that was like brought in, which is like,
yeah, which she didn't know about, so
yeah,
she wasn't there. So all she could think is, oh, maybe the house was built on something, because that's all she kept saying.
Like Toys R Us.
Like Toys R Us. Exactly. See, it all came full circle.
Full circle.
Aren't you guys glad I saved that story until the end?
That's such a crazy story to me too, because like, with like I don't know. Anytime I've seen a ghost or something, I think I've like told it on the podcast a couple times, but I don't know if I've ever told you that like I've seen like theater ghosts and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like one thing if it's like at this old place that you only have to be there for like maybe a couple hours out of the night, but if it's like your own home and like where you sleep and stuff, that's just infinitely worse. Like you have no privacy from it, and it can come into your home, and that's like just like not a comfortable thought.
Oh my god, that isn't a comfortable thought at all.
Yeah, I didn't need to say it out loud, did I?
Mm-mm. It's
sorry.
okay. I have Piccolo. And he's so cute
Yay.
and rolling over, and he's showing me his little belly.
I'm
Piccolo,
going
say
to
hi to
get trapped into this room.
Frasetti. Frasetti was your favorite. He loved your
Hello,
beard.
Piccolo.
Piccolo, little
He's a cute
pickle.
kitten.
Maybe one day he'll be a guest on your show.
He is currently right now. I guess
Yeah.
like also he could just be a guest in and of itself. He can steal the show pretty quickly.
Yes.
I
Very
guess
much
that's like
so.
To wrap up. I guess what are your thoughts on the Toys R Us ghost in general? Like, is it something that you'll find? Do you like believe in it, or do you not? Or like, what part of the stories do you think you would believe in more than others?
Okay, my question, I'll answer your question with another question. Has there ever been any more stories after the Sylvia Brown incident? Because that determines my
Yeah.
answer. There were?
It's like, it's not like been, because I think the teddy bear thing and the door swinging open thing happened vaguely afterwards, and definitely the Tickle Me Elmo one happened in 2008, but that was the only story that like somebody talked about that happened with a year attached to it, so that's the only one I know for certain happened afterwards. But like small stuff kept happening afterwards, and then a few big things.
You know, what if she was a powerful and psychic person, but she chose not to be a good person about it and like tell people? She just used it for greed and gave out wrong info.
That I like that.
Isn't that an
That can
interesting
make
thought?
sense.
Or what if she did have psychic powers like her family said, but she was in the wrong expertise? Because she
Yeah.
was trying to do clairvoyance when maybe she's Claire. I don't know the other names for it, but maybe she's something else.
Omnipotent. That's not one.
No, she's
I
definitely
was gonna
not.
think
She's
that my
proved
interpretation of
that
it-
she is not.
Yeah. She's very potent. She's very, the opposite of omnipotent. Not potent.
Poe don't.
I was gonna... My takeaway was I think she, like, stumbled into, like, a haunting and then just made up facts. I think maybe she, like, looked at the census or something for 1 second, or, like, a cursory town knowledge, but then she just kind of, like, stumbled into a ghost area, and then just because, like, somebody was trying to arouse the ghost, it wasn't necessarily, like a psychic person or something. He was like, fuck, somebody's here for me specifically, I feel like I should do something. Or... I think she just kind of fell into a haunted place and then pretended to be a psychic, and then since it's a haunted place,
Right.
stuff happened anyway.
As somebody told her, you can make money off of this, and that's
She did.
exactly what she did.
She definitely
See?
probably has a small car from being on a TV show like this. I don't know, maybe like a motorcycle.
Oh God, no.
Wait, I don't know. I'm like thinking about like a price point thing, not an aesthetic thing. If she rode a motorcycle, I would probably go to sleep for 7 days and not contribute to society.
That's oddly specific.
Thank you. My takeaway, because I love ghost stories and stuff, and I want to do an episode one day where it's just me talking about how ghosts work, because nobody knows, obviously, but that's like something that I always like to think about in like contexts like this. And like it's like the ghost of a poltergeist to me is different from the ghost of like a residual ghost, where somebody's just kind of like replaying their life, like thinking they're alive and stuff. Because like if you know you're a ghost, I feel like you don't have to. It might not even like be a ghost per se. Like it could just be maybe even something demonic or something. But nobody has to die in order to be a ghost. Like nobody died in the Toys R Us, obviously, and so maybe the spirit isn't a ghost because nobody died. And to piggyback off of this, sometimes people will talk about, oh my gosh, ghosts are in hotels or in hospitals or in places where a lot of people stay overnight despite not knowing each other and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And like maybe a retail store is the modern answer to that, especially since like workers are going to be there for 8 hours of a day for most days of the week and stuff like that.
Right.
So maybe, I don't know, people like bring in their own spirits into the store and then it like disattaches or something.
That's a scary perspective to think about.
Oh yeah. Anything? This is a scary podcast. I gotta end it with
It's scary.
unsettling thoughts.
Right? Like, oh, it's 2 a.m. and I'm too high for this. But
at the end of the day, though, it's a Toys R Us ghost. So
Well,
it's
that was the
funny.
podcast.
it is funny.
I'd like to thank Jacob, Mia, and
Because of
Colin
all
for
the
joining
things
me
he could
today.
have
Weren't
chose
they
them on.
wonderful?
He was just like,
Oh yeah, I
I
guess
vibe
they were
with this
wonderful.
Toys R
I'm
Us.
writing this before I
I'm
record.
gonna scare
so
so many
that's
children.
up to our discretion, I guess.
If you're
But
gonna
now
haunt
I'm
one
going to do
store,
something I
what's the
never
store gonna
do.
be?
Actually
If I
plug
could haunt a
myself.
store?
You can find me in this podcast
Oh
on
man.
Anchor,
Oh
Breaker,
shit.
Google
What's the
Podcast,
whitest store
Pocket
you
Cast,
can think of?
Radio Public, Spotify, and YouTube.
That's what
These
I
are
would
the sites
haunt.
that the
Trader
distributor
Joe's.
Anchor
Oh hell yeah! I would
distributes to,
totally
as well as
haunt a
YouTube, which I
Trader
put up all by
Joe's
myself.
and
So if you
scare
don't
those white
like the
vegans.
media you're listening to at this moment in time, there are others to
Okay,
choose
I don't know if I
from.
can eat as a ghost.
You can
but I
also
would
follow
like
me
to
on
haunt a
Twitter
grocery store, 'cause
at
I just imagine I get
FORSETIFOX.
Right, and you just be sitting
And
there
then maybe
vibing and
someday
eating
I'll
all
get a
their fucking
Patreon,
snacks.
but that's
They're
about
just
the
like,
only
what the
social
fuck is
media
going
I
on?
use besides Fur Affinity,
hungry.
which is also at
Just a floating hot dog.
FORSETIFOX.
You're eating a
Thanks again to
Reese's,
Sun El
and then you eat
Chiquito for the
first one, and then
podcast
you go
artwork,
for the second
and all
one, it's
research,
gone.
recording,
Right.
editing, and music is
I
done
did
by
that.
yours truly. Have a good night, everybody.
Eating everybody's fucking food.
Also, all
Yes,
of the
I
joke
love it.
references were purely fictitious. If that wasn't obvious,
think
we're
I would
comedians,
haunt-
and we're not.
Well, I think
Going
like
to
the very
jail.
boring, easy answer is like I'd haunt a movie theater because you just have something to do all the time.
Oh, if like so many
And
movies
the
coming out.
movies change. Yeah.
But like, what if you sit there haunting that for a very long time, and then those movies become your life, and you think that those are your life, and you're watching it over and over. Oh, that's kind of scary. What if it-
That'd be a good
what-
book.
What if the movie theater is like your purgatory, and you're just sitting there?
Just absorbing the identities of the characters because you're
Exactly.
so, like,
Isn't that
lost.
creepy? And then
That's so
you don't know who
creepy.
you are, and you're just stuck there. And then one day, it goes out of business, and then it gets torn down.
And then you just like
Ooh.
are a ghost, but you're just like, I'm Marty McFly from Back to the Future because you saw it so much, and it's like people are like it's a ghost and it's Marty McFly. It's the Home Alone kid.
You
But
don't
like
know
in
who
a
you
way
are.
where it's not funny because it's just like you see a ghost and they're starting to say movie quotes and you're like that should be that should be more comforting, but it's less.
It's less. This is mildly scary,
It's so much more worse than a normal ghost.
right? Oh
That
man,
also
just
kinda feeds
imagine
into
like
the,
a ghost.
If you're gonna, oh sorry,
hmm Go ahead.
you can go ahead first.
I was just saying, imagine just a ghost coming up to you, just quoting movie quotes. That would scare the shit out of me. Like, what are
Yeah,
you trying
or
to say to me?
Like if it's a normal ghost saying something like "I'm here to scare you," like I know the context, but if